So do you like my shirt?
No. Hold on, I gotta go puke.
Yeah, you are grumpy tonight.
No, I'm not grumpy. I'm down.
Grumpy pants. That's what I call my son, grumpy pants.
I said, lift. Grumpy pants?
Yes.
Take them off and put on some other ones.
Put on some happy pants. Some
Yeah,
happy ass pants.
yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. Anyways, we won't talk about your grumpy pants. We'll talk
Thank
about
you.
stuff that's fun to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, let's. So, hello, Tony.
Hello, Keith. It's good to see
How
you,
are you
man.
today?
I'm
Huh?
sorry, what?
How are you today?
I'm a freaking rock star. I've got this cool background. I feel like I'm in the Bahamas or somewhere really cool. So that's got me pretty fired up.
Hey, look out! There's a hurricane coming to the
Yeah.
Bahamas.
Oh, is there? I don't even. I'm so out of it. All I think about literally on an everyday basis is like, how can I make this sounds like a cheesy commercial, and maybe it kind of is, but like I'm literally obsessing about how I can help people build an athletic body. Like, how can I get them leaner, stronger, fitter, faster, feeling better? Like, that's like pretty much what my whole day entails, just about every single day.
Hmm. Okay, I could think of a whole lot worse thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually kind of fun. It's a bit of an obsession.
There are worse things to be obsessed about.
Good point. So we had a little small conversation before we hopped on here, and we decided upon a topic.
What's the topic? I forget.
Did you forget already?
I'm an old man. I have old man issues.
Oh, you're old. Yeah. What are you pushing? 110?
108.
You look amazing for 108.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
yeah.
the topic today, what inquiring minds want to know, what guys over the age of 40 want to know, is not just how to get strong, but how do we know? Like, we make this claim in Athletic After 40, and I believe this. I believe that we can make 40, 50, 60, in some cases even 70-year-olds stronger than most guys who are in their 20s.
That's a large scale um, comment, prophecy or whatever.
It's bold, right?
Very.
Well, what do you think? Is it possible?
Eh, well, well,
Let me ask this. What about you? Are you stronger now than you were, let's say, when you were, I don't know, 25 or 30?
probably.
How do you
Yeah, I
know?
could say. Yeah,
How
I
do you
could say
know?
I'm stronger.
How do you
But
know?
when I was 25 or 30, I wasn't working out. And if so, definitely not like this.
So what would give you an indication that you're stronger now? Do you have a way of measuring it?
Well, there's one surefire way to measure if someone's strong is to either lift or move something heavy.
What do you say to someone that would, because here's the thing I hear a lot of times is like, yeah, well, um, I could just do gymnastic stuff every day and I could become really strong. Gymnastic stuff meaning like I can do push-ups, I can do pull-ups, I can do air squats, I can do, just basically all the body weight stuff and become very, very strong. And I know a lot of people like to point to who was the football player? He was on the Bears many years ago. And that was kind of like his thing. And he made it really popular. I'm kind of dating myself a little bit here, but we're kind of all in the same boat. Walter Payton.
Walter Payton, he was an anomaly only because he studied ballet, he did yoga, but he was a running back. He was, 5'10", 230 pounds.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Yeah, he really was a monster.
Yeah,
They called him Twinkle Toes.
that's right. Yeah, Twinkle Toes. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
that was because he studied ballet, and ballet gave him balance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, it gives you
Yeah,
just such a beautiful foundation of human movement in general, right? Like ballet, dance, gymnastics, cheerleading, like all these things give people this beautiful foundation of just how to move really well. right? The coordination, the balance, the stabilization, the positional awareness. They call it kinesthetic awareness, is like the nerdy words in the exercise world. But like, yeah, like it's a beautiful foundation. But when someone says that, they're like, well, yeah, well, Walter Payton, all he did was, do push-ups and pull-ups, and he got himself to be 5'10" and NFL, amazing NFL guy.
Yeah,
Is he
but
not? Is he not strong?
there are exceptions to every rule, and I do a lot of body weight stuff, and body weight to get you toned, and I guess if you do enough of it, yeah, it will get you strong, but to get like real, like brute strength, you have to add resistance. You got to lift some heavy shit. You just have to.
Well
And
said. You got to
yeah,
lift some heavy shit, right?
yeah, and to lift, to be strong, it in my opinion, it would behoove you to lift stuff that is, I would say, heavier than your body weight.
Yeah. And the way I kind of look at it is like, if we want to make somebody truly strong, you have to be able to manipulate external objects, and sometimes heavy external objects. So it expands beyond just your body weight and gravity. It has to be, again, the manipulation of whatever. Like, it requires some level of strength for me to move my phone around. It requires some level of strength for me to lift my 13-year-old up from the floor, right? And it just kind of elevates from there.
Yeah, and the more resistance you add, the heavier you add, the stronger you'll get. So, doing body weights is really good, and it will get you strong, but it won't get you as strong as someone that lifts stuff that's heavy, and not just lift, but manipulate stuff that's heavy, because you have to resist gravity. You have to, push against gravity more than your own body weight, because that's like 1G, one gravity. If you can push more than one gravity, then you will get strong.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you kind of hit a ceiling when you're just doing body weight stuff. Like,
Yeah.
You never really hit a potential of like really, really crazy strong. And like, I always like to use the example of like, and ask people like, who do you find to be the strongest people in the world?
Well, that's almost a no-brainer. The power lifters, the strongmen, those guys are unparalleled. No one is as strong as them. No one. But then, what's his name? Maximus, or what's his name? He's 6'6" and weighs, 380 pounds. He's a giant.
Yeah.
And he has a 1,100-pound deadlift.
Yeah. 1,100 pounds.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's insane. That's a half a ton.
Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the strongest people on the planet. Undeniable.
Yeah. Yeah. When you can lift that much weight without blowing yourself up, that's incredible. Yeah. That's strong. Yeah.
But those guys are, if you line up 10,000 people, you'll get maybe 20 of them. They're rare.
Well, and in their defense, they train.
There's a lot of big men. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of big people, but to get guys that are that big, that want to go and do that kind of stuff and willing to put in that kind of training, that's rare.
Yeah. Yeah. To get to that level requires a dedication and commitment. Like, it's got to be basically your life. It's like a career for these guys.
Yeah.
At that level.
I watched a video where I think he was like the 2016, 2017, 2018 strongest man in the world. He did a CrossFit workout against a CrossFitter, and he actually was able to do it, but it crushed him. He was, laying down on the ground in a puddle, but he actually was able to finish a WOD.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too intensive, but he was able to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some work capacity. Yeah.
He's one of the few big guys that has that kind of capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. What the heck is his name? Yeah, he goes around and he's got an excellent YouTube channel. He goes around and he tries different things.
Yep.
He's very athletic.
He's very athletic.
Yeah. He used to just be a power lifter, and then he kind of transitioned into doing all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a special made treadmill, because when he runs on the treadmill, he crushes them.
Yeah.
Because
like
he's so big
size.
and heavy. Yeah. So he's got a specially made treadmill that allows for, 360 pounds to be pounding on it for 5 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the power lifters, these are the guys, and the sport of powerlifting there's 3 contested lifts generally in powerlifting. There's some different organizations, and it's not an Olympic sport, but there is a USA powerlifting organization, and there's 3 contested lifts. It's the back squat, the deadlift, and then the bench press. Like, those are the 3 big lifts that they test. Right. And those guys, incredibly, incredibly strong, right? They're moving some of the heaviest weights in the world. Like, it's just nuts. And then there's another sport called weightlifting. And weightlifting, I consider those people to be maybe not quite as strong, because it's a little bit different of a sport. So they're not moving quite as much weight as the powerlifters. But here's the interesting thing is they're moving a little bit less weight, but they're moving at a much bigger distance. And the 2 contested lifts in the sport of weightlifting are the clean and jerk and the snatch. Both of them are looking at how much weight can an athlete lift from the floor into an overhead position. Both of those lifts test that. And to me, that's like to be able to pick something up from the floor that's really, really heavy, and to cover the entire vertical distance from the floor all the way into an overhead position, like, that's pretty crazy. And the only way they can do it is with not just strength, but also a whole lot of speed. So these are the most powerful athletes in the world, and speed and strength is how we measure power.
Yeah. And these guys generally are not in their 20s. They're seasoned veterans most times. They're in their, mid 30s. They've been doing this for years, and they don't have long careers. A long career in that world is 10 years, because there's a lot of people coming up, and your body just can't hang with that kind of crushing weight, regardless of how big you are. I don't know how those guys retire, but hopefully they retire with a lot of money where they don't have to do much, because they beat their bodies up. What was his name? Who was that Mr. Universe guy?
Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. I saw a recent show of his. He's walking on crutches. Goes to the gym every day. He's not crutches. He walks with a cane.
Yeah.
Goes to the gym still every day, and he just moved too much weight for too long, and it crushed his body. Yeah. Well, so
what do you think?
You have to be careful.
You do have to be careful, without a question. And again, these guys are and he was a little bit different, because he was a bodybuilder. He wasn't even a power lifter or a weightlifter. He was a
bodybuilder.
Yeah, he was a bodybuilder, which is actually very different. Like, their intention, their goal is not to be the strongest person in the world. It's to be the biggest, leanest, symmetrical. It's like purely aesthetic, right? I mean, obviously you have to lift big weights to be able to get to some of these sizes, but it's not really their intention.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys are crazy, crazy, crazy strong.
Yes.
You don't get 30-inch arms and not be strong. But
well, you can with some other sort of nefarious things.
Well, yeah.
Did you see there was a documentary, and I can't think of the name, the man whose arms exploded. Did you ever see that?
No.
It was I think it was like a Russian guy, and he had the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest arms. And this guy would literally inject, and I don't even remember what it was. He would inject some sort of a fluid into his biceps to make his arms grow. And he had these he wasn't like a really big dude, but he had these arms that were and it didn't look, it looked awful. But he would get infections all the time, and they would show him draining his biceps of fluid. in his bathroom with a syringe. It was horrible. I don't even know if the guy's still alive. It was awful.
Things we do for notoriety and looking good.
Yeah. Anyways,
I
we're kind
can
of getting on the fringe here, but yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like everybody can sort of agree that the strongest people in the world are the ones who lift the heaviest of weights. And generally bigger people can move more weight than smaller people, right? But does that mean that smaller people are not considered strong or can't be strong?
oh no, oh no, not at all. My nephew explained it to me. And Arasta he was in high school. He was 6'3", weighed 275 pounds, and had a 400 and I want to say like a 420, 440 bench press. He was crazy strong. He was one of those brute strength. I needed my motorcycle put on the back of my truck. He deadlifted. No, he squatted. Let me see.
Cleaned.
He did a front squat
Yeah.
with my motorcycle and lifted it off the ground to the height of about 3.5, maybe 4 feet, and set it on the back of my truck.
Yeah.
It was the most incredible thing I had ever seen. I've never seen anything before or since that showed a level of brute strength that like that, because it wasn't the fact that he just lifted it. This is a 78 KZ 650. It
Yeah,
had
it's like
a
a regular size motorcycle.
yeah. This was not a little motorcycle. This was a probably dry weight. That was probably a 400-pound motorcycle, maybe more. And it's a motorcycle. It's 5 feet long. It's a 1.5 feet wide. It's got wheels, tires, shocks, and a whole lot of other stuff on it. He was able to hold it in his bare hands without it tilting or leaning. He was able to lift it off the ground.
Yeah.
And then he got it up to his waist. And from his waist, he must have moved it about 8 or 10 inches with just his arms.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. It was something that if you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe it. And if you saw it, you still would question it. But what I'm saying is that he was in his 20s and he did something that was like beyond real. But again, we're getting slightly off subject. What I've come to learn about a lot of 40 plus men that want to work out and get stronger, somewhere in their brain they want to look better, and they have it in their brain, I'm doing this to look better. This is going to sound kind of left field, but I categorically disagree.
How so?
Looking good is a byproduct, not the product. If you're 20, 30 pounds overweight and you drop 20 pounds, are you going to look good? Yeah, maybe. But if you're 20, 30 pounds overweight in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, 20s, whatever, and you work out, lift weights, eat right, do all the necessary things that to lose weight and maybe gain strength, looking good, it'll just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak from what can I say? I can only speak from experience. I mean, look at me. I look damn good. I look so good that I should be on a poster somewhere. And I'm talking about from the neck up, not the neck down.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah. You got to hide that spare tire you've got around your belly.
That's right. That's why my computer screen's only on my face. But anyway, man, I think that looking good should not be, if there's a list of things a man wants, looking good should be way down the list. because if you put in the work, the body, the muscular toned, whatever body, it'll just happen. And it shouldn't be a goal. And, you know, it's a little bit narcissistic. And narcissism isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it shouldn't be the main thing. You should want to do it because being strong and being muscular is not a bad thing to do, not a bad thing to be. But, oh, I want to do it to look good. I want to do it to have a six pack and have big old pythons and, you know, like, really? Come on, be realistic. If you work out hard enough, that shit'll come. It comes naturally. It's a byproduct. I told one of the clients here, he said, I was doing the workout and it was hard. And I wrote just a few words: strength is a byproduct of hard.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah.
It's just the way I think.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, you know, if you want to look great, that's awesome, because when you look great, you have more confidence. And like, why do guys want to look great? They want to look great because they want to feel better, right? They want to feel better when they're in social situations. Or in my case, I want to feel good when I'm hanging around my wife. I want my wife to look at me and go, you look great. Like, that's a really cool thing. You know, like, I want to be attractive. Like, why wouldn't I? Especially to the ones that, to my wife, to the one that I love. Right. So I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that, but I love what you were saying about, to achieve that, look at it more as a symptom or a byproduct of just doing the work and chasing, I would say, like, chase health, not abs, or chase performance, not abs. The abs will come. And I kind of use, like, I have an example. One of the ads that we run on Facebook for Athletic After 40 is a picture of me running, and I've got my shirt off and I'm running around the gym, and somebody happened to take a picture of me. And when I saw the picture, I'm like, I got like these abs and like, I'm kind of tan. Like, I'm like, that's crazy, because I never chased abs. Like, I never had it in my mind, like, look, I want abs, but I just did all the right things for so long that that's what ultimately manifested. Like, to your point, like, that's what happens when you just do the thing, when you set your North Star and you just want to live a high performance life. You want to be healthy. When you do the right things, that kind of stuff just automatically shows up. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's like if you eat right, in theory, you'll lose weight. If you eat right and work out, you'll lose weight and gain some muscle. If you eat right and work out and sleep right, you won't just lose weight and gain muscle. You'll gain tone, you'll gain muscle, you'll lose body fat, and the muscles that you do have will show.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys just have a layer of fat that just can't go away. So they're really strong, really even fit, but you don't really see the muscles.
Yeah.
So eat right, you know, train hard, train to the point of sweat. Don't just lift weights, because lifting weights, that'll get you muscles. Yeah, but it'll
make you strong.
Yeah, you'll get strong. And there's a whole lot of big fat people that are really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually go to the gym, but they're really strong, but you can't really tell.
Yeah.
Because they don't really look the part.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you do all the necessary things, eat right, sleep right, train hard, you know, train to the point of sweat, get your heart rate up, your respiration up, it'll give you more than just abs. You'll get an engine. You'll be able to keep going. You'll be able to lift heavy stuff a lot and often. And even if you can't lift heavy stuff a lot and often, you'll be able to lift a whole lot of light stuff for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. When you truly chase performance, chase fitness, you're able to do all of those things pretty well. But going back to, I think one of the original things was, can you be strong even if you're not a big guy? Like, for me, I'm not a big guy, and I get called out. Like I've got these ads, right, that run on Facebook, and there's always going to be like hate and venom and trolls, and like, that's just how social media is. But I can't tell you how many people are like, that skinny little shit, he can't, why would you listen to that skinny little shit? And like, that's kind of the theme that gets thrown out. It doesn't bother me at all, because I'm like, whatever. But the question becomes like, can you be strong if you're not a big dude?
Well, I'm not a big guy. I'm 6'1" and I weigh 175 pounds. I'm 63 years old, and I did a 305 deadlift about maybe 6-8 months ago. I do a 275-pound deadlift 3 times, touch and go. I'm not a big guy at all, and I can literally lift double my weight. It doesn't take, strength is relative. A 300-pound guy is strong. My nephew,
if he's well trained.
Yeah, well, that's well trained. My nephew told me if a 300-pound guy can lift 300 pounds and a 200-pound guy can lift 200 pounds, they're equally strong, pound for pound. They're equal in strength, pound for pound. So you don't have to be, 300 pounds and be able to lift 300 pounds. You can be 175 pounds and lift 300 pounds. You're strong.
Yeah, you can be stronger. You can be 175 pounds and be stronger than a 300-pound guy if you train, and he doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without question. If you put the work in, and my idea of putting the work in is to be consistent.
Yeah, 100%.
Go to the gym, go lift, go run, go walk, go do, and do it. This might not sound like good selling point, but even if you don't do it every day, 3 days a week, go. Yeah. Don't miss more than 3 days.
Yeah.
Go put work in, and when you work to a point of sweat. Get yourself something that's hard, that taxes you. It makes you tired when you're finished.
Yeah.
And then go and lift something heavy.
Yeah. If you don't create a stimulus that's above and beyond what your body is normally used to, it will not adapt in a favorable way. You have to push it.
Yeah. What he said.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here's another question. Like, a lot of people think, and this is more females than guys. And I'll just present this in a couple of different ways. I'll present it from a female standpoint. So females are like, look, if I lift weights, I'm going to get giant, right? Like, I don't want to get big and bulky. Like, that's kind of a fear in the female space when it comes to weightlifting. And then in the guy space, it's like, well, that's what I want. Like, I want to get not bulky, but a lot of guys, they want to show some muscle, right? So when they start lifting and they start working out and they start lifting some heavy stuff, building their strength, they're waiting for the muscles to show up. And sometimes, like for the women, they don't, 99% of the time, they don't get really big unless they're taking testosterone or something really, really strange, doing something weird. And guys, a lot of times, they don't get really big either. And I'll just use you and I as an example. Both of us have extensive experience lifting weights. And we've pushed ourselves to pretty close in some regards to our genetic level.
Thank you for that.
Right? Like, we have, right? We've put in a lot of work on that front, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we didn't train like an elite level athlete. Maybe we didn't go to our full genetic potential, but we pushed pretty hard. So why is it that we're not getting giant? Why can't you be a 225-pound guy?
If I was a 220-pound guy, I'd be a bully. I'd probably be dead, so laying in a ditch somewhere, shot.
Really? But if you're 225 pounds, why would that change you why would that change your mentality?
I don't know. I'm not there.
Oh, all right.
If I was there, then I could probably tell you. But because I'm not there, I can say, oh yeah, if I was this much, yeah. But no, it wouldn't change me. But I think the reason why I can't get big, huge muscles for me is genetics. I don't have a big frame. I will never be one of those big, huge, muscle-bound, ripped, oh my goodness, never.
Yeah.
I went to the sports medicine doc a few weeks ago, and he actually called me skinny. And I took serious offense to it. I didn't say.
Did you really? You took offense to that?
It wasn't offense. It was more like, what? Can you say that again? He said, he said, yeah, you're skinny.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it was a cleanup. I think it was more of a, maybe even a professional observation, because his next breath, he said, but you're well muscled. I said, and what makes you say I'm skinny but well muscled? Isn't that kind of like a jumbo shrimp? He said, oh, this right here. And I was sitting on the table and I had my shirt off. And he stood up and he walked over to me and he said, this right here. And he put his hands on my lats.
He just wanted to touch your body.
I couldn't help himself. I mean, who doesn't want to touch 175 pounds of dark chocolate? Hell, I was surprised he didn't want to lick me. But my wife was there.
That's awesome.
But he actually put his hands on my lats and he said, this muscle right here. Yeah. He said, that is one of the harder muscles to develop.
Yeah, that always makes me crazy. Like, what did this guy look like? Was he in shape?
He said he was 51 or 52, and he's a hockey player. He plays on a adult male hockey league.
That's cool.
Was he in shape? No, he said that he hadn't played for about 7 or 8 months, so that he was out of shape. Yeah, but he's a sports medicine doctor. He's worked with professional hockey teams as their doctor. Yeah. This guy knows what a fit body looks like. Yeah. There's no, he's a doctor. And he's not just
but when someone says, even like a doctor, when someone says like, oh, that's a hard muscle to develop, like it's, if you do the right stuff, it's not.
Well, what I'm saying, what I gathered, and this is pure assumption, what I gathered from what he was saying was that it's obvious that you put in a lot of work, because it was like this one muscle is not an easy one to develop. So you've obviously put in enough work to develop this muscle. And he said, and just looking at you, you can tell. No, he said, just looking at you, I can tell. But he actually put his hand on this muscle back here. Yeah. And he said, this one is hard to develop. I don't know. Is it?
No, it's not. None of it's hard to develop as long as you do the work,
Yeah, but, let's just say whoever goes to the local gym where they have all the shiny machines with really soft seats on them, will they be able to develop their lats in any?
That's a great point, Keith. You nailed it. Yeah, you're right. If you're doing the wrong stuff, I get how that would work. But if you're training your body like an athlete, like you're training for performance, every muscle has to adapt in some way, shape, or form. They may not all grow to be very, very big, but you can condition the entire system really, really well.
Well, I looked at what he said I looked at it in a way that was, he's a doctor. Yes. He's a sports medicine doctor. Yes. He was the doctor on whatever.
Yeah. For the Canes
team.
Yeah.
Like the Hurricanes. Mm-hmm. And he's been a doctor for almost 30 years. So he has seen big, huge, what I call bags of mayonnaise. And he's seen, the professional athlete that is a professional athlete. So he's seen the gambit. And in the real world, he sees people like me that just go out and train as hard as they can just to be fit and healthy. And I would again, an assumption, I would assume that he's in his own way applauding it. Yeah. Because there's so many that, if you line up 10 guys pick 10 guys out of anywhere, you might get 2 or 3 that actually train with purpose.
Yeah. I think you're even pushing the number 2, 3, but I don't know. I don't have any statistics.
Yeah, I agree. I'm being generous.
But I think what is it? 60% of the population of the adult population in the United States is considered, I don't know if it's obese or overweight because they're 2 different criteria, but it's a pretty sad state of affairs.
It's a thin line between overweight and obese. It's not a broad line.
You're overweight, you're on your way to obese. It's only a matter of time.
It's one cookie.
Yeah. Yeah. So
One
what do you think is,
donut.
and I like you mentioned like it's probably genetics, right?
Yeah,
Why we don't get giant. Like I can get stronger and stronger and stronger. And I've developed my strength to a place where I was really happy with how strong I really was, especially for the size that I was. But it was always really hard for me to show muscle, like to actually grow muscle. But I did have a
yeah,
time in my life, but I got really strong, right? Like, so it was kind of cool because I was stronger than most guys who were over 200 pounds and kind of well trained. You know, I could beat a lot of those guys. I couldn't beat a well trained 200, 5-pound guy. But it's incredible how much capacity we have, even when you don't have giant muscles. Like, you can still get incredibly strong. And even in the sport of powerlifting and weightlifting, they have weight classes. Like, watch the 55 kilo women weightlifters at the national level or the world class level. It's incredible what they're capable of, right? Like, they're stronger than most guys
yeah,
who are,
yeah,
220 pounds
yeah.
and training at the gym 3 days a week. It's crazy how capable we are. So what is like, let's just say if you wanted to gain, let's say 25 pounds of muscle, what do you think you'd have to do to be able to pull that off?
I couldn't do it. And if so, I would probably. I couldn't do it only because I would have to eat so much that I wouldn't be able to work out because I would be too full, too stuffed, I'd be in a constant state of digesting my food. And you
Yeah.
don't want to work out when you're in a state of digestion because it takes the blood away from that carries oxygen, blah, blah, to your muscles and all that. So me personally, I couldn't do it. And I've tried.
Yeah.
I did the weight gainer. I did eat 3,500 calories a day.
Yeah. 5 to 6 meals a day.
5 to 6 meals a day, every day
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the clock. Yeah, no,
How big did you get when you did that? Did you gain a lot of weight?
I gained weight. I think the most I've ever weighed in my life was like 183, 85.
Nice.
And as soon as I stopped, the weight came away within a week, within 2 weeks, I lost it all.
Yeah.
And I was bigger. I was bigger. I mean, it was visibly bigger.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that I was bigger muscled. I was just bigger. I was bigger everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a spare tire. That just is not me. But I was just bigger everywhere.
Yeah.
And I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good big.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. And I have a very similar story. Back in my mid-20s, I trained like a bodybuilder and I wanted to be as big as I could because I was hanging around a bunch of other bodybuilding guys who are all huge, all steroid users. And I didn't want to do steroids. And they're like, well, dude, you just got to eat. You got to eat like everything. And I did. And I ate everything. And I got to like 185 pounds. But I was like, I was just bloated. It wasn't even like, didn't even look good. I was so unhealthy. It was like the most unhealthy thing ever.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel athletic. I felt just like, ugh, it was awful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I meant when I said I was in a constant state of digesting food.
Yeah.
Because, 2 hours ago I ate. And then 2 hours before that I ate. Oh, and I'm eating now. I was always stuffing food in my face.
Yeah.
And back then I didn't eat good food. I ate whatever was in front of me. Whatever I got my hands on. I just needed the calories.
Yeah. I remember waking up in the morning and like I would have like this shake right next to my bed, like because I had to get calories in my body right away. I had to get anabolic right away. Like that was kind of the thinking.
Yeah. I'm okay. It's taken a long time, but I've come to be okay with, I average between 173 and 177.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm that middle ground. I'm 175. I'm 6'1". I'm 10 point. My last check was a couple months ago. I was 10.4 or 10.5% body fat. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'd be okay with maybe 11, maybe 12%. 12% is when I decide that's too much fat. Yeah. But 10, 11% body fat, I'm okay with all of that because I know that I do carry, what was it? 97 pounds of my 175 pounds is muscle.
Nice.
So I am like 3/4 muscle.
You're well muscled.
I'm well muscled.
Yeah.
And it's
You're like
not,
an athlete.
it's not just regular muscle. What did I read? It's not necessarily how big your muscles are, it's how dense they are.
I would take it a step further. It's not how big they are. It's not how it's how well you can, it's how well you're able to perform in your life.
Well, my job
It's like, that's what muscles are for, right? It's like performance, like to be
my
able to
job
live this life.
forces me to be able to perform. I do a lot of tile.
Yeah.
And tile is basically, I do reverse lunges all day long. In one day, I can do 100 single, reverse. I can do 100 reverse lunges in a day. And the cool part,
With weight.
I don't have to use my hands to get up, and I'm able to do it. And it doesn't even hurt.
Yeah. And sometimes you're holding weight.
Oh yeah, most times I'm holding weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're strong.
I do the lunge. I do it all day long.
Yeah. So basically what it comes down to is like chase health. And when you chase health, your body goes to its genetic, its happiest genetic place, right? And I need to come up with some sort of a name for that, but it's just the healthiest. And I believe genetically we're all predisposed to carry a certain amount of body fat, like our most healthful level of body fat. Some people tend to run really lean. Some people might carry a little bit extra, but there is like this really, really healthful place for most people. Guys, arguably it's somewhere between, I'm just going to kind of be broad here. I'm going to say somewhere between 8% and 12%. Does that sound about fair?
No.
What do you think?
To be optimal, yes.
Just like healthy, like a healthy version of someone.
Yeah, between I'd say 9 and 12, 8 and 12.
Yeah.
8 would be the athlete, and 12 would be me or you.
Yeah, some people are like, well, and some people I think genetically just run a little bit leaner.
Yeah.
Some people, they run a little bit with a little bit extra body fat. Like, we're all different humans. Not everybody is going to run healthy at 8%. Some will, and some will do very well there. Like for example, like I get teased sometimes. Like people are like, "Oh, you're way too skinny. You must be unhealthy." And I'm like, I'm not unhealthy at all. Like, what do you want to test? What do you want? Let's race. Let's make it like. Should we share blood panels? Like, what do you want to do here? Because I could probably beat you on everything. There's that thinking, but your most healthful place, you have to allow your body to just kind of show up there, and your body will reward you with that if you do the right things. You eat good food, you exercise, you sleep good, you have good thoughts, you're in a good place mentally. I think all these things kind of wrap around the health and how you present yourself to this world, right?
Well, I do feel in most situations, I feel confident.
Yeah.
I do feel in most situations that I'm able to what? Whatever. Fill in the blank. The old lady falls down and 2 guys go over and they're trying to pick her up and they're struggling. 2 guys. Here, stand back. I got her. I'll grab her by the arms and say, on 3. I'll put one of my feet on her feet and say, on 3, you just hold on. And I will lean back and lift her up.
Yeah. I feel like you've done this before.
Without hurting her. If there's a heavy whatever, or wait here, I'll run for help. I know that I can run fast for a mile. Fast. A half mile, I could probably sprint, with no doubt. It's like, wait here, I'll run for help. Not wait here, let me go get my phone and call for help. No, I will go get help and bring help back.
Yeah.
Or heaven forbid, if there's ever a and this is one that I dread the most. If there's ever an altercation, I'm willing to stand between whomever. And most guys, oh yeah, I'll stand up for my wife. Yeah, you'll stand up for your wife and get your ass kicked. But you'll stand up for your wife. Me, I would be willing to stand up for just about anybody. Yeah. If I see someone that's taking advantage or abusing someone else, I will be the one to speak up. Sometimes my wife has to, no, stop. Like, no, let me take care of this. Hold, you stay here. And I will go and intervene, because I have it's like an overall level of self-confidence. Not that I can fight, not that I'm some big, strong grizzly bear or gorilla or anything. It's just that I feel like my conversation and my presence, my self-confidence is enough to hopefully, what's the word? Diffuse any potential not nice situation. Sometimes I get myself into trouble, and I have.
And you think some of that confidence just comes from because you've taken such great care of yourself, right?
Yes. No question. Yes. I did, I have to put a caveat in there. I did study Tai Chi for 10 years, and some of that shit you just don't forget. But at the same time, I'm not a little weak guy.
Yeah, that helps.
And it helps.
It certainly helps.
I don't want ever that to happen to anybody. And at the same time, someone fixing a flat tire, the lady over fixing her own flat tire, here, let me help. Or the old guy that needs a hand, the old lady that's trying to pull her cart up a hill or up a flight of stairs. There are 100,000 ways where a little bit of confidence, and I personally, this is just me, I think confidence, you either have it or you don't. And
how do you define confidence?
Confidence is the ability to, self-assurance is confidence. When you are self-assured, when you feel that you can fill in the blank, whatever it is.
So it's like you just feel like you can do anything. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I said. You can fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, not all of it, that is physical. And then the other portion, and I'd say maybe 75% is physical, and the other 25% is mental. Because there's a whole lot of big, fat, overweight guys that are self-confident.
So wouldn't that be mental though, and not physical?
Yeah, that's more mental than physical. Yeah, but when you're in shape, when you're fit, when you feel that you can, for the sake of conversation, when you feel that you can do anything, and just for the sake of this conversation, no, in real life, I'm that guy. I'm 63 years old, and I feel like I can do anything. There is very, very little that I can't or can't do. I can lift heavy stuff. I can move heavy stuff. I can run far. I can climb. I can push. I can pull.
Do you feel like you can even improve?
Oh, without a question, without a doubt. I will chase improvement forever. Yeah. I'm that guy that's never totally satisfied with his physical self. Even with my internal self, I get 8 hours of sleep every night. I'm running at a hot 75-80% on my nutrition. I
got a question for you. What do you we all have like certain standards in our life, right? Like we have certain standards that we hold ourselves to. Some of our standards are not very high. Other standards are very high. Because we started with kind of a strength kind of theme here, I'm just curious, like, what are your standards for your strength? Like, let's just say, like, you went to the gym. Let's just say you didn't go to the gym for like 6 months. And then you show up at the gym and you did some stuff and you weren't able to hit some certain lifts, like what are the standards that you ultimately hold yourself to in the strength area for a 63-year-old guy? What would frustrate the shit out of you if you weren't able to do it?
My idea of just kind of raw brute strength is a deadlift. Maybe a deadlift and a squat, a weighted squat, front squat, back squat. I struggle with my back squat, so I do front squats a lot.
And just curious, why do you pick the squat and the deadlift?
Because the deadlift is basically just your entire body, all the muscles in your body working at the same time, working in conjunction with your skeletal system.
Yeah.
If you can align yourself in a correct posture and get all your muscles to work, they don't work at the same time, but they have to work in conjunction with each other. They have to, like, your thighs fire, then your gluteus maximus fires, then your lats fire, then and all the while your core is firing. So everything has to move right when it's supposed to in a deadlift, let's say. To me, the deadlift, I would say the deadlift and the squats, those are tests of like brute strength.
Yeah.
Not being finesse, not being, ooh, watch me. It's more like, kind of thing. I'm going to chew these rocks into sand.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And they're like fundamental movements in everyday life, right? We got to be able to pick stuff up off the floor.
I was telling the guy the other day that, bicep curls. Oh yeah, I want them big old biceps. Do you know how many times in a day you actually curl something that's heavier than a glass of water or something on your fork? Almost never. But how many times in a day do you have to pick up something heavy from the floor?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And it usually turns into like a clean, like it's not even a bicep curl. Like watch mom pick up her kids.
Yeah.
It's not a bicep curl. It's a clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a clean is, just go to YouTube and check out clean.
Google it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, my standards are, I need to be able to deadlift minimum my own body weight. Minimum. That's 175, 180 pounds. Minimum.
What about squat?
If I can't do that, I will do whatever it takes to work up to it.
Got it.
And kind of, sort of, 175 pounds isn't enough. I have to be able to lift 200, 225. Have to. Right now, when I start my deadlift ladder, I start at 180 pounds.
What about the squat?
And my front squat, I have to be able to squat minimum 150 pounds front squat, minimum, because that is like 3/4, 5/8, 7/8 of my body weight. I need to be able, right now, I could probably squat my body weight, front squat my body weight, 175. But that's pushing it because I have issues that I have to deal with. So my body tends to compensate a lot. So rather than me do heavy squats, I do not so heavy squats, but I do a lot of them. I do a lot of reps.
But again, heavy's relative, because man, the fact that you're squatting your body weight, for a lot of people, that could be like, right?
Yeah. Well, if I weighed 300 pounds, me squatting 300 pounds, yeah, that'd be pretty mind-blowing. But still, again, because I have musculoskeletal issues, my squatting is strained. And there's a lot of compensation going on, and I try not to squat too heavy because that's when I tend to hurt myself, and I don't like being hurt.
Yeah.
So again, rather than squatting heavy, I'll squat, 100, 125, but I'll do, 3 sets of 10.
Are you able to squat up to that without any compensation? Because I know you know how to squat. I've seen you squat.
Of course. And yes, I can do that with no compensation.
So your limit is like when you feel stuff compensating, when you feel things breaking down, that's when you generally stop, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And it depends on if that's my first workout, my first exercise, or my third, or my, where it falls into the chain, depending on what I'm doing in the day. If I know I'm going to have a squat day, then I do that first when I'm fresh, so that compensations are limited and minimal. Yeah. But I do it. I get them in. And if I'm hurting, which isn't very often, but if I'm hurting, I'll load some dumbbells. You know, I'll put 50, 60 pounds on 2 dumbbells, and I'll just hold them at my sides, and I will get my squats in. If I can, I'll swing them up to my shoulders, and I'll get my squats in. I get my squats.
What else do you do? What other things do you like?
My clean, my hang clean. I did, what's today? Today's Friday, so it must have been on Wednesday. I started out at 100. I did 100, and I think I did 8. Then I did 105. I did 8. Then I did 100. Then I did 110. I did 8 and 8. Then I did 115. I did 6. And I realized it's like, I did 115 last week. So I added 5 more. I did 120. And I did 6 of those.
Nice.
So my hang clean is, I could probably hang clean 130.
What else do you like besides a clean? Like, these are great movements because they're like everyday life movements that you see. And when you use a barbell, you can get really good at those.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else do you like?
I like, and this is probably going to sound really weird, I like doing burpees.
That's not necessarily a strength. I mean, there is an element of strength, but I would consider that to be more gymnastics
stuff.
Yeah.
I like doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
And nice. I've gotten much better at them. I can do my strict pull-up. I'm up to 11.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I started out at 4.
That's awesome.
And normally I'll pull 9 or 10. Let's say I'll do 9, then I'll do 7, and then I'll do 7, because I like doing 3 sets of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's my pull-up routine.
Nice.
And
that's full range of motion, because I've seen you do.
Oh yeah, you know that's a strict.
You are like straight arm at the bottom.
That's from straight arm at the bottom to up to chin.
Yeah.
And then awesome. I have rings in my gym.
Nice.
So I do ring dips, which is pretty hard.
Very hard. Very hard.
I can do probably 3 sets of 12 or 13, 12.
Nice. Really cool. Yeah, that's great.
That's body weight. That's not,
real, it's more of a gymnastic-y kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of a gymnastic-y kind of thing. But those are the kind of things that I do to basically just make me stronger. And again, I don't have to do, a whole lot of sets or some crazy amount of weight. I just do, when I do lift weights, I like doing ladders, start at one weight and then work my way up, do lesser sets of heavier weights, heavier loads. And when I do body weight stuff, my gymnastics kind of stuff, I try to do 3 sets of the same. And if not, then I go down 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Just as my body fatigues. I don't push myself to the point of, what does it call it? To the point of failure. Yeah. I don't go there. It's not that critical for me.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the big complaints we hear a lot of times in the world of CrossFit, which both of us are very familiar with. Yeah. But it's easy to kind of go to that place of fatigue and keep going. And that's where bad things happen, right? That's where a lot of orthopedic issues start coming up, because your muscles are just so fatigued that they can no longer stabilize the structures, no longer stabilize the joints. And then something gets hurt, usually it's just tendonitis or something, but never want to go there. So it's knowing your limits.
Yeah. And at my age, I know my limits.
Yeah. And another really important thing that we should probably just touch on, but if you're going to get into a strength training type program, meaning lifting external objects, and we've kind of hit on this before, but like, what is the number one most important thing when someone wants to get into a strength training program? Again, like lifting things.
Well, you have to, a good coach would be ideal, but if not, then you should know basically stabilization. moves or exercises so that your body can be, you have to have good form. You have to have good posture.
You got to know
have to
how
be
to
able
move.
to basically stack your bones on top of each other so that when you move, everything is firing as it's supposed to.
Yeah. Know how to move your body well, right?
Yeah.
Know the movements. Yeah. Awesome. Well, really good stuff. I mean, I think we kind of nailed it. We beat that up quite a bit. It's good to be strong. There's a difference between just body weight strength and manipulating external objects. In our world, we considered being strong, being able to manipulate external objects. One of the best tools for the job is a barbell, as seen by the strongest humans in the world, the weightlifters, the power lifters, even the world's strongest man competitors. A lot of their training is done on a barbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's where we can load the system with the most amount of weight. It's like a precision instrument for developing full body strength and power. It's pretty cool. It's amazing.
I would agree with most of that. That's a pretty broad statement, but it's pretty true, because with a barbell, you can load it pretty much. I have 2.5 pound plates.
Yeah.
So I can be real specific on how much load I put on.
Yeah. So let's bring it back just to kind of round this whole thing out, because I want to bring it back to Walter Payton. Was that guy strong?
I personally never heard that he just did body weights.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong guy, but I thought it was him. I'll have to double check.
I'm gonna research that, but I know he studied yoga. He actually danced with some famous ballet company. He actually was in one of their productions on stage in front of 5,000, 10,000 people. He did yoga, he did ballet, he studied martial arts. He was a black belt in 2 or 3 different forms of martial art, which gave him speed and power.
He was a movement genius.
Yeah,
right?
body movement.
He knew how to move his body so well. Yeah.
He could move that's why he was as good as he was playing football for a long, long, long time. Yeah. He had records that went unbroken a long time.
And I wonder, I would, if what he said, and if I'm using the right person, so please fact check this, because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But this is the person that sort of came to my mind. But if he's truthful in saying the only thing he ever did was body weight stuff, and he was able to play in the NFL as a running back, he's clearly strong, and he never did any strength training, I would argue that he probably had even more potential that he wasn't able to tap into just because he didn't do any formal strength training. He could have been even better.
Well, for sure, without question, he could have been stronger.
Yeah. And I would even argue that he probably did do some strength training stuff.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Better is training, not necessarily strength, because there's a whole lot of real strong guys that can't tie their shoes. And there's a whole lot of not so strong guys that are really, really good at a lot of stuff. You can't compare a power lifter to a CrossFitter. Yeah. But just because the CrossFitter is not as strong, he's way better than the power lifter. He's better at everything, but he's a quarter as strong. So,
generally in sport, if you have a tremendous skill, like if you're a football player and you've got this tremendous skill of speed and agility, right? Like a running back is like speed and agility. Like they're able to change direction on a moment, like a fraction of a second. They're full speed one direction. All of a sudden they're going the other direction. That's incredible agility. That's a tremendous skill. And it does require some strength and balance and coordination, all these other things. But when you have these amazing skills, whether it's football, gymnastics, pick the sport, basketball, football, baseball, whatever the sport is, if we can make them stronger so they have that skill, and then we give their body, instead of an 8-cylinder engine, we turn it into a 12-cylinder engine, that's just going to enhance that skill.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
being stronger is never a bad thing. Because if we were to weaken him, let's take it the other direction. If we were to weaken him, let's say we were to, I don't know, take out 10% of all of his muscle tissue, that's not going to help his performance, right?
No. Being stronger is definitely absolutely not a bad thing. If you're stronger, then your potential goes up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is. Awesome.
And being strong and old, being old and strong, being older, because we're not old. Old is a relative term. But if you're older and strong, your potential to be better goes up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I consider like fitness in general, right? Because we always like here we're talking about strength, but when we talk about fitness, we're talking about the whole picture, right? Today happened to be more strength focused, but we're talking about the whole picture. We want to be able to do everything. And the more we can build our fitness, the more capacity that we have, physical capacity we have, the more we hedge ourselves from zero capacity, which is death. If I can get further away from that, like I'm trying to hedge myself, right? I'm much harder to kill.
Well, I'm not worried about being killed. You know, the terrors haven't made it to Wake Forest yet. But what I'm not real concerned with, but what I'm more concerned with is silly injuries.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the thing. Like if you break a hip, because your fitness is like right here, like you're just kind of riding the line over death, over zero. And then you fall and break a hip and all you got to do is go like this and it's over, right? But if I'm super strong and super fit and I fall, the likelihood of me having a silly injury or breaking a hip or whatever, I've got much further to go. I want to hedge myself, you know, I want to get myself way up here so that it takes a freaking Mack truck.
Well, I haven't
put me down.
I haven't been hurt with a silly injury in years.
Yeah.
I did CrossFit for 4.5 years. Yeah. And in the 4.5 years that I did CrossFit, I was never hurt doing CrossFit, not once.
Yeah. And I bet you anybody out there that's hearing this,
that the stronger and the more efficient I was at movement, less likely I was going to get hurt.
Yeah. You did it the right way. Because there's probably a lot of people out there. And I even talked to a lot of people who've done CrossFit and they're like, I just hurt myself. I hurt my shoulders. I hurt my back. I hurt my knees. I hurt my hips. I hurt my ankles, whatever. You know,
I was never hurt.
Yeah.
Never.
There's a right way and a wrong
way. I have to say, for what, 2, maybe 3 of those years, 2 of those years, you were the coach.
Yeah.
So that made a significant, that set, let's put it this way, that set a real good foundation.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Well, that's very kind of you to say. That's very nice of you.
Now I'll expect a check in the mail tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to throw you a bone for that one.
Make sure there's some meat on it.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll send you a shiny nickel.
Please. It's got to be shiny though.
I don't even know if you can find nickels anymore. Do they still have those? Are those still a thing? Do we still have change in this world? I don't even know.
Yeah, there's still change.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
All right. Well, let's drop this one off and we'll pick it up again maybe next week.
Good idea.
You rock. Awesome.
Of course I do. So do you.
Adios.
Bye.